All right, what is going on? This is the second part of my. Just think of it as a really long podcast that just never stopped. So if you wasn't there last night, me and my co-host Kid kind of broke down the NBA Finals and what was next for LeBron and the Warriors, a dynasty, and just just really just basketball talk, really. So now today would be more of NFL, but I'm also gonna mix in the NBA some more because I didn't want to talk about everything last night. One of the topics I talked about, we did talk about it last night, but I kind of want to deep dive into it just a little bit more. So, kind of give a rundown, and then at the end of this, I will tell you my future plans for this channel because I'm really excited. And Kid really gave me this idea that I'm going to run with once the fall season starts. So just stick around and I will talk about that. So give a rundown, talk about Julian Edelman, aka Julian PEDelman, PED Edelman, is suspended for 4 games, and T.O. saying he's not going to go to the Hall of Fame. And I'm going to give my thoughts on that. And Kyrie, which was the topic that me and Kid talked about last night. Kyrie might leave Boston to go to the Knicks. So I kind of give my little inside thoughts on that. And Brian Coangelo, the Sixers, I don't even know what he was. I think he was the executive. He was something. Give my thoughts on that, on him being fired and that situation if you don't know what really happened. So take it to the NFL. Think came out, when did it come out? I think yesterday or 2 days ago. Julian Edelman, Patriots wide receiver, one of their loyal receivers, well, one of the loyal players, period. Who made that? I think he was the one that made that lucky catch in the against the Falcons last year. Not this past Super Bowl, but the one last year. I think it was him. So came out a day, 2 days ago that he is suspended for PED use. So, and then right after he came out with the statement saying, "I'm very sorry. I don't know what happened. I've taken many, many tests, obviously, over the course of my career, and nothing like this has ever happened. I apologize to the Kraft family, my coaches, my teammates, and fans." So I kind of want to deep dive into this. I think my thought on it is it was something he took that he didn't really know was banned, which is like almost all NFL players. Well, most of them kind of know. Like Richard Sherman, when he got suspended for taking Adderall, like I don't really like that. Like that's stupid. It doesn't enhance it just helps you stay up at night. But I mean, NFL suspended him for Adderall, so I mean, who knows? Edelman, he could have been suspended for Adderall. We don't really know what he took, but it's all part of this. Oh, that time versus time, and Brady and that healthy lifestyle and all that. That's kind of fishy because that's the second player. I want to say Gronk. I could be wrong. I might be wrong, but someone else that was that trains with Brady and does that TB12 method and all that. I think someone else got suspended. So this the second one that got busted. Now who knows? Is Brady somehow taking PEDs? I'm not saying he is. I ain't saying he ain't. But I mean, if it's the second one that got caught and facing a 4-game suspension, then that should kind of raise a red flag on what Brady been doing to be 40 and playing at this high of a level. Now, obviously, Brady been in tip-top shape his whole entire career, but I wouldn't I mean, I ain't gonna say I would be surprised if he got suspended for taking PEDs, but just don't be surprised if he did, just because of Edelman getting he's getting suspended. So now it's like, okay, what's going on? And obviously he's gonna appeal it like every other player does, and I don't mind it. But I mean, if you can't be found not, if you're found guilty still, then you got to serve them 4 games. If not, they'll probably try to, cut it in half where they only serve two or something like that. But I mean, that's all I really got on it. I don't really care for the Patriots. It was the same guy that leaked this story is the same one. I didn't write it down. I didn't type it up when I was making the stream, but the same guy that said, and this came out yesterday, and it was a complete shocker to me, that there were reports in New England about the Patriots might trade Gronk. So I don't know if that's true. It's probably not true. You'll probably ask the Great Patriot on that. I'll leave his link down low in the description. You can watch his video. I think he did a video talking about that situation, but it was the same guy that said Edelman was getting suspended is the same one that says Gronk might end up getting traded. So, I kind of, Twitter kind of, Twitter's like the news right now. Like anything you want to find out, you can find it on Twitter. So it was like Gronk came to Belichick and was like, I want to get traded, and think they almost had a deal on the table, and like the 49ers and the Titans was in it. And I'm thinking, okay, so who would the Titans be willing to give up? Because we're not giving up any of our young players. So I don't know what to tell you, but I don't see them trading. I don't see them trading Gronk. Why would they trade Gronk? I mean, unless he's asking for like wide receiver money, then maybe. But I mean, he's been the staple of that offense. Him and Brady. Then that's probably the best quarterback tight end combo in the NFL. And just to think that they would actually think about trading them is weird. Then to continue on with that story, it's like Brady said, like, he might contemplate retiring if they do trade Gronk, and it's just a whirlwind of mess that's going on with the Patriots right now. And it has been for the past few months with Malcolm Butler getting benched in the Super Bowl to just a bunch of rumors just swirling around. I don't know where this is coming from. Like I said, I'm not into the Patriots. I'll leave that to the Great Patriot who's a diehard Patriots fan. So if y'all want to know what's just going on, I like I said, I'll leave the link to his channel in the description. Now, I'm gonna move on to this topic, and it's kind of shameful to me, and I really hate that he did this. But I'm not surprised that he did this. So T.O. put out an article. Well, not an article. He put out a statement 2 days ago saying basically that he will not attend the Hall of Fame. He will not give a Hall of Fame speech. Now, I really hate that. And for a player of T.O. stature who think he's like top 3 in almost every single wide receiver record. I don't really like that T.O. decided not to go attend the Hall of Fame to at least give a speech. I don't like that, because like that's something that nobody could take away from me. I think it took him 3 years to get in, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're mad about it taking you 3 years to get in, and then when you finally get in, you're not going to give a speech, then what everybody was saying about you throughout the years, you being a diva and all that, and you know, being a locker room problem, that's the reason why they came out with all these reports. That is why, because when you do stuff like that, then it's making the reporters second guess themselves on why they voted you in. Because if you look at his numbers ain't bad. I think he's like third all time in receiving yards and touchdowns, and he's one of 6 receivers to have 1,000 receptions, like 10,000 yards and 100 total touchdowns. So to not just go to the Hall of Fame to give a speech for about 30 minutes, that's pitiful. I don't really like that from you. So I was watching Undisputed, and first things first, I only really watched it to see what their takes was on it, especially Chris Carter, who is a Hall of Famer. It took him, I think, 6 tries to get in. So, I mean, yeah, it's frustrating when you don't make the Hall of Fame on your first try when you feel like that you should, even though I think he's just upset that Randy Moss got in on the first try. But when you just like, this is a special moment, and the person that's inducting you will be remembered. Just like what Shannon Sharpe and Chris Carter said. No, people will never remember how many times it took you to get in. Because most of these players and coaches and executives and all that, it took them 10 plus years to get in. I think Shannon Sharpe said it took Dicka like 13 tries before they finally let him in. But people don't really care about that. They just care that you got in. Like, who cares? So when you don't want to go, you just that's just adding on to your diva legacy, which to me he is, because you're not attending this. Like, been over 25,000 players in the NFL, only 400 is in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's a very exclusive group to be a part of, and you declining your invite, well, you declining to do your speech, that's inexcusable. And if they could, I'm pretty sure if the media or the Hall of Fame committee itself, if they could like remove people that got voted in, I'm pretty sure they would remove Terrell Owens, because that's just not cool. But I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like you done played on 3 good teams that all could have made a Super Bowl. Well, I mean, you made the Super Bowl with the Eagles, but 49ers, you came up close. Dallas, you came up close a couple of times, but you're just adding on to your diva legacy, and it's just not cool. But move on to the NBA. I'm gonna talk about this Brian Coangelo thing. So I think 2 weeks ago, I did a podcast on this, but I didn't really dive deep into it. I didn't give an update on it. So the Sixers, with free agency coming up, and Joel Embiid already recruiting LeBron, and Simmons and Bron are really cool with each other. Simmons he works for Bron's agency and all that. You got Brian Coangelo, who you don't know was the executive of the Sixers. Him and Hinkie kind of part of that trust process and everything. And so now Brian Coangelo has been fired by the Sixers due to him having burner accounts, which was his wife's, which pretty sure he told his wife to tweet out a lot of those things. And the Ringer deep dived into that case. So don't know what happened. I I don't know. I don't know what made the Ringer want to like get into that case, but they ended up finding 5 Twitter accounts that linked to the Sixers executive. And, most of those tweets was criticizing the team when Jahlil Okafor and Nerlens Noel was there, and even criticized Ben Simmons, saying, "Why don't you take a 3, you coward?" Jahlil Okafor, I think it's illegal to release personal information. When Jahlil Okafor, he failed his physical, and one of those accounts was like, "Well, why don't you ask Jahlil Okafor if he passed his physical?" That's what is that called? I think it's called doctor to patient. I can't think of that like exact term of it, but it's where like, your doctor and the patient has basically like you can't release them records without your permission. So I guess he figured out he probably passed or failed his physical, and then that Twitter account leaked it out that he more than likely didn't. So they got rid of Coangelo. They went ahead and got him on up out of there. So now, if I was the Sixers, this is what I would do. Since you want to get LeBron and all that, why not hire his old GM for the Cavs, David Griffin? David Griffin is a very smart man, and he would listen to LeBron before anybody else. But obviously, that's how the team got assembled as it is now. So I know there's reports of like everybody wants to be the Sixers GM, and I can understand why, especially when you have that kind of roster who could take over the NBA about 2-3 years, who had a good run in this postseason. Everybody thought that they would dethrone the Cavs, but we don't know because the Sixers took them out. So, the Celtics took them out, and who knows? If David Griffin becomes the Sixers' next GM, which I'm surprised he ain't been hired yet as their GM, kind of expect that to kind of level. What's the word for it? Kind of boost up Philly's chances of landing LeBron, which I don't think he's gonna go there. I think he's gonna end up with the Spurs. It's not the Spurs, the Lakers, but I'll talk about that at the end, as I did last night. But if you didn't watch it last night, then I just re-talk about it. So this last piece of news before I get into where LeBron should go. I should say, as you know what, I'm not even gonna say where he should go. I'm not gonna deep dive into where he should go. I'm gonna save that because me and Kid is gonna do that together. So this little last piece of tad bit news. So this also came out, I think, yesterday. So yesterday was just filled of NBA news with, the Cavs losing, Golden State and that dynasty. So this was before all that happened. And Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated dropped a report that said the Celtics are fearing losing Kyrie Irving next year. So here's my take on it. I'm going to just dive into it more than what I did last night. I did call him a diva last night, and I stand by calling him a diva because he's obviously upset that the way he sees the way the Celtics played without him. Eastern Conference Finals, 1 game away from making the finals. Obviously, that's going to reside with you just a little bit. You're going to be upset that they made it this far without you. Rozier and Brown and Tatum, who I call is a very good 1-2 punch in the NBA for years to come, especially Tatum. Tatum's going to be that next Celtic great. So when you have this kind of roster and that kind of coach, at this point, I don't even think it matters who you really plug in to play with them, because Brad Stevens will figure it out. So my take on it is, like I said, he's a diva. He's been a diva. He wants to be the man. He's talking about leaving the Celtics to go to the Knicks, which in that case, then you should have just played out your contract with the Cavs and then left. But you decided to take the lower route and wanted to get traded, and now you asking for the trade has now backfired on you, because now you're thinking about leaving. So you don't know. I think Kyrie is from that New York, Jersey area. I think that's where the story of Uncle Drew came from. He's from Record Park, New York, and all that. So I can kind of see why he would want to go to the Knicks. But I mean, this is all him. He did this to himself. And he easily could have just been like, all right, let me just get healthy. Let me get healthy, play out the season next year, and then we'll just wear our options. Even though he says he's still going to wear his options next year, but I can bet you that he's going to leave. And Kid called it since the beginning of the year that, Kyrie really, I feel like he don't want to be in Boston, because, he thought that he was going to be the man there. And obviously he's not. When you see the way that Tatum played, especially in the playoffs, when he elevated his game to a whole new level. So, Kyrie wants to be the man. That's him. He's a diva to me. That's never going to change, because he's upset that he's not in. He probably won't be in that spotlight for next year. He might have to play second fiddle, which he has always had to do, no matter what. He can't stay healthy either. So I don't see Danny Ainge, because we see what Danny Ainge did with Isaiah Thomas when he was healthy, got him on up out of there. So don't be surprised. Obviously, they're not going to trade Kyrie, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie walked away in free agency. Like, if Danny Ainge just straight up told him, like, we're not going to need you for next year. So, Kyrie, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you find a home that you can actually stay in for longer than 4 years. But yeah, if you're new, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your friends and all. I'm slowly trying to gain my subs up. I haven't really been posting a lot due to school and just work. So I'm trying to do this on the weekends when I have some extra free time. So I say, if you're new, share this out. I want to hear everybody's opinion, no matter what. I could take any kind of criticism, opinions, recommendations for how I can improve and everything. And I will see you guys next week. Oh, wait. Oh, I almost forgot. So my plans. Man, I almost ended the podcast. So my plans. In the fall, with college football season starting and, the NFL season, what I'm going to do is I'm going to report and follow the Vols and the Titans. I live in Tennessee and all, so I'm a Vols and Titans fan for life, no matter what. I'm going to report on them, like, break down their games, kind of do this kind of style instead of actual videos. Just do a quick little stream after every game, kind of give my thoughts on this, that, and the third. So I'm going to do that a lot, and I can't wait to actually share that with y'all. So if you know any Vols or Titans fans, share this with them and tell them to subscribe to me, because this year I'm aiming to just get 100 subs, and then from there on out, just keep moving on up. So I will see you guys next week when I break down the NBA prospects and I give my take on them and my comparisons. And then after that, me and Kid will talk about free agency. So I will see you guys next time.